The team at Unity have partnered with Microsoft on Havok, updated their game engine with two physics systems, one new default option and an additional, high-end, option backed by Havok's proprietary physics engine, announced today at DD 2019. The new default Unity physics system will be open source and available to all, while Unity's freshly added Havok Physics system will be proprietary and available to devs willing to pay for the privilege, though how much you will pay is yet unclear. This physics revamp is part of an ongoing effort to transition Unity's game engine into a data-oriented technology stack, which, to vastly oversimplify, aims to make the engine more efficient by cutting down how often it has to pull data from memory. The company is quick to promise that devs who are currently making a game with Unity will have optimized or convert their work over to one of the new physics systems, or to keep working on their game without needing to upgrade. There will be no impact on game developers in the middle of building their game with existing physics solutions, as these new solutions are far-based projects. Unity VP Andrew Bowell told Gamasutra via email, if developers would like to transition their projects to the docs framework, we have converters and upgrade paths in place to migrate existing physics content. If you are building a new project on the docs framework, the new Unity Physics or Havok Physics integrations will be the supported options. Devs interested in the new Unity Physics system should know that it's stateless, to complement the engine's shift to docs. Again, the idea is to make it more efficient by cutting down how often it has to pull data from memory, and according to Bowell, devs should see performance improvements in the new physics system. The new Unity Physics is a stateless design, which means that rather than rely on caching, we can use the efficiencies from dots to give developers a much simpler physics framework to tweak and modify, wrote Bowell. By comparison, if you have a team that has experience with Havok Physics, your use cases are pushing on complex and high-fidelity physics requirements, the caching system of Havok Physics can offer better stability and performance. According to Bowell, on the tooling side, we have focused on streamlining the authoring side of things so you can build your physics content once and then swap the physics backend between Unity Physics and Havok Physics. He continued, this is achieved by having a single data representation model of the editor data that is then converted into X data and shared between the two physics simulation backends. Devs curious to learn more should check out the Unity website. PUBG Corp, developer behind PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, announced today that it will support its esports scene by introducing a profit-sharing program for team and league-branded in-game items. The company will reportedly provide 25% of all NAT while NAL PUBG LAGUE and PUBG European League item sales to each of the participating teams. This is an interesting way to offset the costs many new esports teams face when entering the league, especially when it comes to traveling, housing, and general operations, as explained in a press release. Further financial support is expected through additional profit-sharing opportunities for exclusive in-game items created for global events. 25% of those sales will be given to the participating teams there, on top of the regular profit-sharing program. Additionally, PUBG Corp will be matching each partner's prize pool to double the amount of money that's won, with more details to be shared at a later date. We are nothing without our teams and players, so it's critical that we develop these programs to support our competitive scene and help teams build their brands, Richard Kwon, similar PUBG Corp. Said in its statement. In addition to building a popular esport that caters to our fanbase for years to come, we want to create a financially viable environment for players to sustain themselves and profit from their hard work. This interview is part of our Road to DF series. You can find the rest by clicking here. Nth Dimension. He can explore places you are not supposed to be, leaving players to explore and wonder them as they seek the hidden truth buried within seemingly dead ends. Gamasutra spoke with Zachariah Chandler, developer of the Nuovo Award-nominated Nth Dimension, Hiking, to talk about creating worlds where the truth is hidden, in out-of-the-way places and the joys of being lost and unsure in digital realms. I am Zachariah Chandler, and I am the guy making Nth Dimension, Hiking, NDH. I do all the stuff: programming, shader work, level design, sound, music, eventually animation, etc. I just came out of a game design bachelors at RMIT, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. NDH is my final semester project, actually, so I have been making games for 3 years now. Before my degree, I had not really meddled in anything game-related. I focused on visual art in school. There was not a single moment where I thought, I am gonna make a game about a little triangle ghost, evading an obtuse chiaroscuran public transit system. But rather a series of disparate ideas came together all at once and coalesced into NDH. I had been playing with the idea of a complex character controller that used Game Boy controls, D-pad, A, B, start, select, for a while before I started NDH. I'd also wanted to learn a little more about procedural meshes, shaders, and level design in general, ironically practical and production-focused, for a game which would end up being so philosophical and theory-oriented. As I started to put all these things into the same project, some kind of a something began to take shape. I then spent 6 months talking to smart people and thinking lots about game design conventions and the kinds of works I liked and aspired to, and eventually I knew what I wanted NDH to be. I used Unity for the engine, Shader Forge for some of the graphical stuff, although a lot of what I did could be done without Shader Forge, Atom for script editing, Cpunk in Blender for modeling, Blur and Audacity for sound, Photoshop and Gimp for 2D graphics. Honestly, I always want to make spaces that are mysterious and strange, but truthful. Every part of the geometry and environment is solid and interactable. There are no invisible walls. The space is always telling you the exact truth about what is there. That kind of level design creates trust between the world and the audience, and gives the space a great deal more weight and intrigue because the player does not have to worry about arbitrary gate-keeping or correct paths, or whether or not what they can see is what is really there. Another aspect of this kind of design is encouraging lateral thinking. I spend a lot of time just digging around and trying to get to strange parts of my levels. I like to find out of the way areas and think about what it might be interesting to find there, and how it might relate to the rest of the space. Much like my mechanical design, the spatial design happens very slowly and organically, and usually according to what I personally find compelling. Obfuscation, everything from the graphics to the controls to the sound design, is all set up to be a little opaque and inscrutable. The space itself is also arranged in such a way that if one follows it according to common sense, it will lead nowhere. One must instead poke around in the corners and edges of the space to find what is worth finding. You have to start thinking about the space in a different way. And while the whole environment is designed to be navigable by the player, it is not immediately apparent, and that adds to that feeling of unbelonging. I play a lot of walking sims. I think they might be my favorite genre of game. I also really like action games. Games where you get a significant level of control over your body. Mario 64, Tomb Raider 1996, Elite Dangerous, and Eurotruck Simulator 2 are good popular examples. One of the things I particularly enjoy doing in walking sims, and in games in general, is trying to get to places that it looks like I should not be able to get to, or to climb as high as I can. Unfortunately, most walking sims do not have interesting controls with which to do this, but they often have compelling atmospheres and environments. I wanted to combine these two things and create a slow,